At some point, every athlete faces pressure, doubt, and the question of who they are beyond the game. Because performance rises and falls, but your identity can't. And when you've competed at the highest level, including winning a professional football championship, you know exactly how real that battle is. Today, I'm sitting down with Coach Kip to break down the mental side of elite performance and how to stay grounded when everything is on the line. This is Dallas from Dallas. Open hearts, endless motivation. This is Dallas Podcast. I am so excited to introduce Coach Kip. She is a sports psychotherapist. She has obviously won a professional championship of football, women's league, by the way, right?
Yeah, not the men.
No. And is now sharing some amazing practices with us today on the show about, how you coach and train how to coach and train premier athletes, like the mental side, really, right?
Yes.
But before we do, I have to ask, how did you get the name Coach Kip?
Okay, well, back in college days, so this is the mid-'80s, I was a DJ.
Oh.
And so my legal name is Ann.
I was going to say,
which is
Kip?
not a real, good radio name or DJ name, Ann.
Uh-huh.
And so I thought back to my gymnastics career growing up, and I just went, Kip. How about Kip? Yeah, let's go with that. And so that started in '86. And so I've just been called Kip since then, and actually just about a year and a half ago changed it legally to be Ann Kip Rogers.
Oh, that is the coolest story.
Yeah.
I had to ask that question because obviously my name's Dallas, and, you hear all kinds of things with the name Dallas. But,
yeah,
Kip, you being a gymnast and going back to that,
yes.
Obviously you were very highly successful in gymnastics.
I had ups and downs with that career, but that's what motivated me later, though.
Okay. But you won some awards too.
I did, yes.
Okay, so I would consider that pretty successful. Don't be so humble. But Kip is what I was getting at is Kip is one of the things that all gymnasts know, and even I had I only did gymnastics for a few years, but Kip was what I everybody wants to get on the bars, right?
Right. It's a basic connecting skill.
Yes, but it's the first big skill for gymnasts
that you get. Yeah, on bars.
Yeah,
right. You can't do anything unless you Kip.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, how far did you make it in gymnastics?
Oh gosh. Well, back then they were known as classes, so it went class 4, 3, 2, 1, and then elite. So I competed. My last year I competed was class 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my gymnastics years, I did it for about 5 years. Before I was in 5th grade, so it was young, and I was a level 2, and so I was pretty competitive. But I think gymnastics teaches so much in life.
Well, I've always said, if you grow up a gymnast, you can do anything.
I agree.
Because you have to be everything as a gymnast, right? You got to be strong. You got to be powerful. You got to be flexible. You got to be graceful. You got to have fine motor skills, gross motor skills. It's just, you got to have endurance, but you got to have that plyometric power.
Yes.
So it's all encompassing. So once you've been a gymnast, other sports come very easy.
Yeah, and it's all eyes on you when you're performing. So there's that mental side that is truly there's no one else you can blame it on, right?
Correct.
You are center stage.
Yeah, you make a mistake. It's not like you can blame the coach or blame your teammate. You weren't covering. Well, it doesn't happen. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it definitely, I would agree with you 100%. I think that's why my parents made all three of us do gymnastics right out of the gates, to just, kind of help us, I think athletically, it helped us so much athletically.
I had both my kids in those gymnastics classes too, the little tot classes.
Yeah. Yeah. So from gymnastics, you went on to do football. Like, okay, like that is like a complete dichotomy of each other. How did you get into football?
Well, I grew up on the Ohio State University
I asked you right when you came
sports.
in,
Yes.
Curve Street. I remember him,
Yeah.
watching him play, and actually, he still does announcing. But I remember when he first started announcing.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad was a collegiate golfer at Texas Tech. I grew up on all of Buckeye sports, from hockey to basketball and football and women's and men's gymnastics. My dad was a ed psych professor there. So when you grow up on Ohio State Buckeye football and I don't know, I think I was 5 or 6 when I went to my first game, and there's 100,000 people plus in the stadium. It's like it's just a spiritual experience. You know, you're like, I want to do that. But I can remember in middle school, the football players in middle school called me Little Brute because I was little, but I was like, as a gymnast, like little and muscular. And I'm like, I want to go play football, but they wouldn't let girls do that back then.
Okay.
So then when I found out about this women's professional league, I was 41. I'm like, let's go. I want to know what it's like to play this game just like the boys do, just like the men do.
I mean, and obviously you made that happen, and you've had tons of success in it. But like that is just a very interesting. I mean, I've never even met another woman that's played football.
Okay. Well, yeah.
So like, okay, so what is like does the practice look the same as like
Very similar, sure.
Okay.
All the drills, conditioning, strength and conditioning. Yeah, all the drills. Your agility drills, your gassers, position drills.
Tackle?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Actually, this is a fun story because when I knew the game. I had watched the game my whole life. But when first started playing, you're not in pads yet. You're not hitting or tackling quite yet at the beginning, right? Preseason, you're just kind of going through drills and getting into shape. Well, when we put the pads on to start hitting, I did not know this was happening, but I'm watching all this whispering going on around me. And we do those Oklahoma drills where you're helmet to helmet. You stand up and you're just clashing with each other and seeing who can basically take you out. And at the end of practice, I'm watching money exchange hands between my teammates. Well, they had bet that I would just fold and quit.
Oh, do they not know you, Kip?
Once we started tackling, well, it's because I'm so nice. You can't be nice and play tackle football.
Okay.
And boy, were they wrong.
Okay.
And they were like, you just cost me, I don't know, however much money. I'm like, well,
You shouldn't have bet on me.
that's right.
That's
But it's funny. It's just fun. I love the game, right? I love the game.
Yeah. So what game was your best game? I guess I should ask first, what position did you play?
I played mostly free safety.
Okay.
A little bit of outside weak side.
Okay.
But I wasn't quite big enough. But my favorite game was a rainy night in Louisiana. And it was a grass field. It was muddy as all get out. And they had to, because it was thundering and it was lightning and it was raining. So we'd play for a little while and then they'd stop it and we'd have to go shelter. And then, okay, lightning's back and we'd come back out. But I just had one of the best games of my life in terms of causing a fumble recovery, just making tackles. It was so much fun. It was that in the dirt, just battle going on. And it just was so much fun.
That sounds like fun. Well, I don't really have that to compare it to. Obviously I played soccer in college and growing up, but I can say, in sorority, they had a powder puff team.
Sure.
This is my
Right.
only
Right.
I mean, again, nothing like what you've gone through, but I did play powder puff. And of course, because I was very athletic, they called me the rover that was all over. That was my
nice.
position.
Okay.
So I was pretty much everything.
Okay.
And I mean, I had so much fun doing that. Like, I mean, again, not tackle, it was powder
But
puff.
see, now it's going to be an Olympic sport.
Really?
Flag football is going to be an Olympic sport. And I'm like, right? These things are happening now.
No, you're like,
And
wait a minute, this is not
I
fair.
know. I was like, couldn't this have happened like 30 years ago?
Right.
But that, that's okay. I think that's part of what we paved the way for those things to happen.
Absolutely. So, obviously you won, it was 2008, right?
I won the championship 2008 as a player. And then I don't know, 4 or 5 more rings as the mental skills coach for the team now. And we're in season now. We actually have a game this Saturday night. So
Awesome. Where is it?
it's at Maverick Stadium, UT Arlington. Saturday night is 7.
Oh, how fun.
Yes.
Okay. So you've won several as the mental coach.
Yes.
So, it's a great, segue to, what you do now. Like,
Yeah.
how did you get into that? Like before, like obviously you've been very successful as the mental coach for the Women's National Football League, but what made you decide to get into this profession in the first place?
Well, I think it's a combination of influences, just like, I think for anyone, when you decide on a profession, there are multiple reasons that influence such a decision. Obviously, my dad being primary as a collegiate golfer, and the science I use to do mental assessments on all my athletes is something he originally taught me. He used it with the Ohio State men's and women's golf team, and so he did mental skills coaching for Ohio State. I've taken it and tweaked it and, gotten it to where it is today over all these years. I had an uncle that was a coach in the NBA. And so watching him, being around, he has 11 rings to his name, having coached for the Bulls and the Lakers. And
Wow.
watching him coach and deal with a variety of people. And then early in my counseling career, I worked in an addiction facility.
Okay. A lot of golfers and
Well,
pilots.
as you can imagine, I saw quite a few athletes
Yeah.
come through the program, including some Cowboys back in that time, and a lot of high school athletes, college athletes. And so it just became the niche of people I felt comfortable with serving. And then when I think about, as I had kids and we worship athletes, right?
Oh, yeah.
We stick them up on the wall. We
Right.
buy their memorabilia. And I remember just thinking, okay, my kids are going to start worshiping these people. And so I'd be like, is this guy bedroom wall worthy? Why are you putting his poster up there?
Right.
Is his character worthy of you worshiping this
Right.
person? And so I just thought that those are the people I want to help and serve because they influence our
So many.
community so much. And I just felt a calling as someone who's been in that life, been around it, and seeing the struggle they go through just like anybody else.
Right.
But they turn around and have a platform unlike others. Even the little middle school athlete has more of a platform, right, than someone who's not an athlete.
Yeah, for sure.
They're
Right.
influential in their little group.
Yeah, for sure. And there's, generally multiple athletes within a team. So
Yeah.
they have just strictly by numbers, right? Like football teams and basketball teams, soccer teams, like there's multiple athletes within that group that can have an influence. And
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier about my gymnastics career. I mean, I had so much success early on, 9, 10, 11, 12 years
Right.
old, and I did not know how to maintain it. And so when it got harder and it got more difficult, I didn't know I didn't know how to embrace failure. I didn't know that, now that it's getting harder, you actually need some different mental skills because you can't rely on your talent anymore.
Right.
And I really, as much as my dad knew or I just don't think people understood that. Kind of sports psychology wasn't really a big thing back in the late 70s, early 80s. And so I think that fueled me, right? I want to help young athletes, especially the high school and college athlete, with things I learned later.
Right.
That led me to then go try and play football and then succeed at playing football when my gymnastics career did not end the way I wanted it to.
So you had a do-over.
It felt like redemption.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was like, okay.
Yes.
I'm at peace now. I never had peace with the way gymnastics ended, but that's not a sport you can do the rest of your life.
Oh, of course not.
Well, neither is football, but I mean,
yeah, right. I think you maybe do gymnastics longer than football.
Well, I mean, and I love it that now we are seeing gymnasts have longer careers. I think that's great.
Yeah, they are. And, I think that, your story is just so unique as far as, being a gymnast turning into a football player and your, the whole way in which you got there. I do understand and can, not agree. I'm trying to think of the word. I played soccer. I went through, 4 years and, I tore my ACL before my freshman year, and that impacted my career, to be honest with you. I had obviously the ACL impacted, I was like, I'm going to play. I'm going to get back in the game as soon as possible because mentally. And that was probably one of the most defining moments of my life.
Sure.
Coming back as quick as I did and just the tools that I used to get there. But it also impacted because I was playing, early from an ACL injury. And so, I didn't, fully heal as well as I probably should have. And how it translated.
Fear of re-injury?
I didn't have re-injury, but I did re-injure my ankle 3 days before preseason, my sophomore year. So, coming back in, talk about the challenges that you face. And I came back from that injury and, I played my freshman year, but then was on the top of my game, truly the top of my game. And then literally tore all the ligaments in my ankle my sophomore year, 3 days before preseason. Before preseason. And so that was devastating. And I ended up playing, the rest of my career, but it was not at my best ability because I had just gone through 2 massive injuries and trying to, be as good as I knew I was before my injury.
Right.
So I totally can relate. I guess that's what I'm trying to say is I can relate to you and wanting to, perform and do a do-over, because those injuries definitely impacted, my overall career.
They do. And it inserts, I know for me, I had an Achilles injury kind of in the middle of my gymnastics career. And again, it's how do you navigate that? And how do I help you overcome doubt now?
Right.
There wasn't anybody necessarily around me or that knew how to equip me with how to deal with doubt, because now, like I said, the level of difficulty is getting higher. So the risk of injury is actually higher.
Right.
And in my practice, I call them brain codes. So when we do a mental assessment, you're one of 16 brain codes. Well, my brain code innately has a high fear factor. And so I had that working against me too. Yeah. And so it's I didn't overcome it well. So I played it safe.
16 different codes.
Yeah, there are 16 different mental brain codes. And so I'm looking at mental processes that God has innately given you at birth.
Okay.
And so these processes let me know, this is how I customize mental training for an athlete, because I look at what's mentally required for their sport or position within a sport.
Okay.
And then I can tell you, here are your strengths, here are your challenges physically and mentally. Here's what we're going to do about it. And the key, obviously, to every athlete is keeping you out of stress. Yeah. Well, different tactics for different brain codes. Sometimes coaches think one style of coaching, I see this with parenting too, one style of parenting for every kid. That doesn't work.
Right.
Because they're wired differently.
Right.
And your advice for that one may cause stress for that one.
Absolutely.
Right. So you got to.
Well, it's like birth order, right? Like birth order plays a huge role in the way in which their personalities are. So
there's definitely enough science there to suggest that. Yes.
Yeah. So if you take that logic, and I see it with my 3 children.
Yeah.
Then like the way you would coach one child versus coach, or,
yeah, my 2 kids are so different. I had to absolutely parent differently.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not that, like, my kids say that all the time to me. Like, well, you would have never done it this way for your Max, or for, or for Finley, or for Faith, one of the 3 that's whoever's talking to me. Right. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you're right. But it's because, you've been set with certain, obstacles and challenges. And therefore, I'm going to treat you a little bit different than I would treat the other 2 based on just the fact of what you deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Yeah. But coaches don't do that. Coaches are like, across the board, generally speaking, they are going to try to treat every single athlete the same.
Well, this is what I loved about watching my uncle in the NBA. Okay. So Tex Winter was the offensive coordinator for Phil Jackson. Tex Winter is my uncle. So watching him and Phil address the specificity of each of those professional athletes to create a consistency across their program. They did it in Chicago, and then they went and did it in LA. And what do you see happen? Championship after championship after championship. You have to customize what you're doing for each athlete.
I mean, I bet you no one's doing that. Are they?
It's hard. It's definitely hard. And great coaches know how to do it.
Right.
I think there are some great ones that are doing it. But yeah, most of the time that's not something they're thinking about. But hey, I'm ready to help. But but that's part of the influence, right? That I watched happen. And I'm like, oh, that's good. Yes. Right. Even if you read the book Captain Class, you'll see that actually that is such a fascinating book, because he studied over 5,000 teams across the world, got it down to 16 that won 4 championships in a row. And he tried to figure out, well, what was that factor, right? What was the factor that led to the 4th one being won? Mm-hmm. And it actually wasn't coaching, but it was the entrance and exit of one particular captain who knew exactly how to do that, address the specificity of each of the athletes and hold them to a higher level of expectation than the group would normally hold for themselves.
Right. Wow. I mean, like, what about like a Tom Brady, right? Like,
he's in that Elite 16.
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, like, I mean,
he's one of them, right?
Yeah.
Which actually, he does not have the best brain code as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
But he is, I mean, he's the GOAT because of how he learned to use his innate wiring, but they also knew, the Patriots knew how to put the right personnel around him, which is so key in the NFL. Know your quarterback, know how he's wired, put the right personnel around him.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I wish that, I think that there's, if you could do this like for every person, whether it's for a job or it's for a business or it's for, you know what I'm saying? Like everything translates. I think that's what's so great about sports is sports teach you so much about life and the tools that you learn.
Such a great environment for learning life skills.
Yes, for sure. Like that's the reason we always encourage our kids to play sports, is because.
Well, I made it mandatory.
Yeah.
You're going to play a sport. What you pick. But you're going to play one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's so important. And that's the way my parents raised us. That's the way we've raised our kids.
Yeah.
Because of the life skills that you learn
Yes.
as an athlete.
Yes.
I know you've been working on like some metrics for these life skills, right? Like what are some of the main things that you see in superior athletes? And I think that kind of translates into life, right? Like those life skills.
Well, I mean, not just good athletes, but great athletes, their identity is not tied to what they do. It's not tied to being an athlete.
Right.
Being an athlete is just a role they have, but it's not their identity.
Right.
It's where they live out a purpose. They understand their identity comes more from a spiritual perspective. Right. And then I get to go live it out in this role as an athlete, right? As a student, as a mom, as a brother, as a sister, as a daughter. And so there's clarity with identity is where it starts from going from good to great.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think so much of what is your identity? I mean, as a believer, it's Christ. Like that is first and foremost,
right.
is your identity. And that takes a lot of pressure off of you, in my opinion.
Almost everything.
Yeah.
Right?
I tell my kids all the time, one of my very favorite verses is Colossians 3:23. And it is work hard as working for the Lord, not for man.
Yes.
And what I tell my children is that when you represent the Lord in everything that you do, if you work hard for him, then the success is in his hands. It's not in yours. If you've done everything you know to do, you've worked hard consistently, you've done the things that you know that God has called you to do, and you've done it with excellence, then leave the results to God.
Well, and it may not be the same definition of success that the so-called world would say is successful.
Right? Because you can't control it, right?
Well, and our interest is on eternity, not just today.
Correct. Absolutely. I mean,
so
yeah, we're all headed somewhere.
Yeah.
You know? So so hopefully we're you know, I know you and I are headed to heaven, but
yeah,
you know, that's the end goal for, you know, everybody that is a believer, right?
Yeah.
But the way in which you get there is the day in and day out. How are you representing yourself and the Lord? That identity that you have, are you representing it in a good way? You know, and we all fall short. I mean, you know, no one's perfect.
Correct.
But, you know, we have the ability, and thankfully, like we're grace saved, right? Like we're only saved by grace.
Yes. Like my son and I were just having that conversation last night because we were talking about how even, you know, like athletes we admire, they're human.
Right.
You know, pastors we admire, they're human.
Right.
And I go, yeah, you know who else is human? I go, your parents. And he's like, oh, you're right. Right. There's a point in time where our kids realize we're not perhaps the idols that they when they were little, like, you know, oh, there's faults.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That is such a good point, you know. I mean, it truly is. I think, you know, my dad and my mom at different times in my life were like, I mean, not idols, but like just I still look to them. They're role models. They're my mentors. They've been pretty much everything for me growing up. But it is so true to take that pressure off of the parents because we are human and, you know, we are going to fall short. And I actually tell my kids, you know, I am going to try my hardest to always direct you in the best way possible.
Right.
I said, but if there's something that I can teach you, I'm going to fail you. Your dad's going to fail you. The world's going to fail you. Your friends are going to fail you. Your coaches are going to fail you. But you know who won't? Is God.
Yes.
And so
that's
always,
a great message. Yeah.
Always go back to the word. Go back to the word.
Right.
The Bible is where you get, you know?
Yeah. Right.
It's the one true truth.
Yeah.
Consistently. So, yeah, I am very much a, you know, my kids, they definitely, you know, look to their dad a lot, you know, and it's great because he's a great example. And I am, like I said, my parents were my example, and
Yeah.
I love that we have the opportunity to influence humans, little baby humans that become adults, and and we have to also have that same grace to them that they're going to mess up.
Right. Right. And I think that's important. And even in this concept I've been talking about, like, yes, there's grace. And then yes, usually when I'm working with parents, I use the word discipline.
Yes.
Right? How do we and I'm going to discipline differently. And it's not about punishment. Now, sometimes it is, but it's like teaching these life skills that our kids need for the rest of their life. That is priority number one for parents. And so, yes, it may look different for each child.
Right. So give me some examples of life skills that you would teach a kid that's come in and is an athlete. He is a basketball player, and he's having some anxiety about his performance.
Yes. So we have to learn emotional regulation and mental regulation. You don't have to believe every stupid thought you have. You don't have to keep believing it. And a lot of times when there's anxiety, there's inaccurate thinking.
Like OCD.
OCD in its very technical sense is very difficult.
Yeah.
And yes, sometimes that leads to people getting very ritualistic that actually hinders their performance.
Right.
Rather than helping their performance. But it's helping people understand how to evaluate physical, technical, tactical, and the mental piece. Most coaches don't know how to teach that part, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the part I'm teaching, right? Is evaluating what's going on in your head and your heart. And is it accurate? Positive self-talk, I hate that word, positive.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It's really, I understand the meaning behind it.
Okay, so give me an example. What is positive talk?
Oh, good job, honey.
Oh,
good
got
effort.
It.
Oh, it's going to be okay. Well, what if it was a crappy performance? Don't tell them it was okay.
Right.
It's going to be okay. Let them feel their feelings.
Yeah.
And then let them learn to regulate those thoughts and feelings about it.
Got it.
And then accurately evaluate it.
Mm-hmm.
Because, okay, you gave me a basketball example, right? So you were 2 for 11, right? Not very good, right? You were out there 37 minutes, right? You stayed at 37 minutes of playtime. How long does it take you to make a shot? Maybe a second, right? So you're going to allow 9 seconds to ruin 36 minutes and 51 seconds? No.
Right. That's such an interesting point.
Right? So you have to help them evaluate the accuracy of their performance.
Yeah.
Right? I left you out there.
Right.
I don't care you didn't make the shots. Do we need to learn from it? Yeah.
Right.
But I also need you to be present and keep hustling, keep playing D.
Right.
Right? If plan A doesn't work for you,
right,
then go to plan B and get it in the hot hands. Right? I'd rather have you get a high assist number than point number.
Right.
But if you're all in your head because of those 9 seconds that didn't go well, then we got a problem, right? I have to help you understand the accuracy of that.
I love that. I mean, I've never thought of it that way ever, but I love what you just did. I mean, because as an athlete, you're looking at those shots, right? Like you're like, okay, I was 2 for 11. That's not very good, you know? And so like you're breaking down those shots. That's all you're breaking down. Like, what did I do wrong? And I'm going to stay in that negative cycle of all the bad that took place.
Right.
I mean, that's a natural thought process for a competitive athlete, because in their mind, they're like, I know I could do better. I know that I'm better than that. What was I thinking? Why did I shoot that much? Like, these are the thoughts that are going in their head.
Automatic negative thoughts.
Absolutely. And so rewiring is such an important, like, that is where the average athlete becomes the elite athlete.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Getting that mental framework.
Yeah. Right.
So what other tools, like life skills, are you...
Life skills, there's so many, it's unending. Accountability, discipline, the emotional mental regulation, understanding what confidence is and isn't.
So what is confidence not?
A feeling.
Okay. It's like you carry confidence based on the way you carry yourself and where your identity is.
No. I see confidence as a belief in yourself to figure it out.
Okay.
Now, you're right. So even if, right, I'm 2 for 11, I still carry myself as if I'm being successful.
Okay.
Right? My chest is up, my eyes are up. I'm in the moment of the action. I'm not thinking about the miss.
Right.
I'm in the moment.
Right.
So performing in the moment, right? A life skill.
Yeah. But I find it interesting. I mean, you mentioned that, you're born with certain, I mean, do you think that's innate wiring?
Yes.
You do. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what about like the environment? Is the environment teach you those skills at all? Like,
it can. Sometimes it can exacerbate it.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of is it contaminating or contributing the culture?
Because I know, I mean, I've just been around a lot of athletes my whole life. And, now not being the athlete, but watching my kids play. And there's definitely kids out there that have tons of confidence. And you just wonder, like, how in the world...
It's innate.
It's innate.
There are some brain codes that don't struggle with confidence.
Okay.
And
even if they're not great.
Correct.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Like, do you think it's like fake it till they make it kind of thing?
Sometimes that's a real tool to change your belief system is to act successful. Uh-huh. I actually heard an interview on a podcast with Drew Bledsoe, and he's the only NFL quarterback I actually have heard who admitted there were times in a game when he didn't think they were going to win.
Yeah.
But here's what he did. Is he acted or faked his way into believing they were going to be successful.
Yeah.
He just carried himself as if they were going to be successful. And in that pretending or in that faking, it ultimately led to we can be successful.
Right.
Now sometimes they would win a game, sometimes they wouldn't, but he would leave the field knowing he gave everything physically and mentally towards that goal.
Right.
There's no regret, no feeling guilty that I gave up. He didn't.
Right. Well, I think there is a way in which, I mean, again, we're made in God's image. We have so much power within us that we don't even tap into. I mean, I think
for sure.
I mean, hands down, like, I know that. But I think there's a way in which, like, and there's a name for it, I can't think of it, but it's basically like, it's like seeing a white car, right? You like,
yes.
You go look at you're in the market. You're like, I want a white car. I'm going to buy a white car. And then all of a sudden you see all these white cars because it's what you focus on. It's like where your mind focuses is what is going to happen.
You start seeing, you start doing.
Right. Yeah. So I can see how that would be super powerful from a Drew Bledsoe perspective is like you actually seeing it. Like I remember like, when I played soccer in college at Ole Miss, like we would do like visualizations of, if it was a PK, like visualize, yourself scoring that goal, like there was a lot of different exercises that we did, to, from a visual standpoint. And I teach my kids that all the time is like, visualize yourself.
Mental rehearsal. It
is like, it's a rehearsal
before
the game.
Yeah.
It's a pre-course to the main course, right?
Yes.
And it's so powerful to do that. But not very many people do it. I think they think it's like a waste of time or something.
I think you're right about that. Yeah. And it's not.
No.
It's not at all. That mental rehearsal actually creates muscle memory.
Right.
Even though you're not actually taking a rep, which in injury recovery is really important.
Yes. Injury recovery, absolutely, because you can't live in that fear. And that's the reason I don't know that I had injury recovery fear, because to be honest with you, I didn't wear a brace. They wanted me to wear a brace, but I thought to myself,
you're such a daredevil.
I did. I thought to myself, if I have this brace on, all I'm going to be thinking about is the fact that I have injured this knee before.
Which there's some truth to that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I can't do that. Like if I wear this brace, like that's what I thought. I remember if I wear this brace, then all I'm going to be doing is thinking about the fact that I could injure my knee. And I don't want to think about that because those thoughts on repeat, it's going to happen. Right? I mean, it just does.
Good. So good.
It does. It's so scary that is how our brains like do that, you know, and I see it across the board and kids that are hitter, you know, baseball. Like if you think you're going to strike out, guess what?
Well, right. You're going to strike out. Yes.
So so take like a baseball player that has that mindset. They struggle with that negative self-talk. Mm-hmm. How do you get them?
Well, some of it depends on their brain code. Because I would give different players different.
And there's 16 codes.
There's
to
different,
just say it. Okay.
There's different.
Give one example.
There. So one example would be for somebody. So I'll explain. It's a mental process of how they're taking in information. So in baseball, that becomes really important. So if I have someone that sees it more linearly, directly, and in detail, then what I want them to do is focus in on one or maybe two to-dos.
Okay.
And so it might be something like I'm looking for a specific pitch, right? Watch the ball. So I'm telling my brain what I want it to do. Smooth and easy. You know, so it's just one word, maybe two words, cue words that are unique to them that get their brain telling their body exactly what they want to look for and exactly how they want to hit.
Okay.
Other brain codes are wired where they don't care what it looks like. They see all these options to get the ball where they want to be. So there's some that see it just one way. And so if I'm telling them
to do this other way, then
that would send them into stress.
Shock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is so interesting. Okay. So first you have to evaluate your player.
Yes.
And so when you evaluate them, you have a series of questions.
They have an 11-page intake form they fill out.
Oh, wow.
And then we have a 1-hour, interview. And then there's an online assessment they take.
Wow.
Because I want to be thorough and I want it to make sure that their brain preference is really that preference.
Oh, that's so important. That's so interesting. What has been the hardest athlete that you've ever had to, not obviously no names, but an example of an athlete that was one of your most difficult to get through as far as teaching them how to rewire their brain?
NFL player who, it was such an effort just to get him to go through the process. So it was suggested by the director of scouting for the NFL team. So they had recruited this guy. He came in, he's a rookie, not playing up to his potential, right? We really want to get him evaluated. So I get the call from the scouting director, And he's like, well, I can't suggest it to him. And I was like, well, why not?
Why not?
Because can't it, there's fear, right? That this is going to create a problem. And so then I was like, well, who will suggest it to him? And he goes, well, let's, how about his agent? Here's his agent. So I called the agent, and this is a true story. I call the agent. The agent's like, I can't suggest that he get mental training. And I'm like, why? Because then he'll think I don't believe in him.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, okay, what is going on here? You recruited this guy. You're giving him millions of dollars, and you can't make a simple request that he get some mental training. Are we still in the dark ages here?
Yeah, right.
Is the stigma still really that bad? And I go, I guess it must be. So the agent calls the high school football coach.
Oh my goodness.
Who calls the kid. And because of that request, he went through my evaluation, my assessment, the recommendation plan, gave him an athletic report based on his brain code and his position, stress management report based on how he's wired, a career report on how he's wired, because I always, like, your athletic career is temporary. So I'm always trying to help them for both, right? That transition time.
Sure.
And then I give him the recommendation plan. And when we went over the recommendation plan, he looked at me, he goes, I can't do that. And I went,
That's the whole purpose of this.
I was like, okay, right. I was like, the team is counting on you coming back strong.
Yeah.
Right. And being able to produce. And they're keeping you on the roster.
Right.
And I'm going to highly suggest that you do this. I'm not kidding. 2 weeks later, they released him. He never made another NFL roster. And this kid was getting taken advantage of by the woman he was dating, by his family. He was providing all kinds of housing and money and all this kind of stuff, right? And I reached out to him, I don't know how many times, to try to help him. And he didn't want the help. He never played another down in the NFL.
That is crushing to me.
It's crushing because it's what fuels me to try to help.
Right.
And it was maddening to me as I was doing this, how he was taking advantage of it, and he just had no clue.
Right. And that's where God had gifted him with this amazing talent.
Incredibly talented young man.
And
physically, right?
Physically, yes.
Yeah.
And yet the mental side, because of probably environmental, I mean, maybe
it's a lot of it, yes. He was very innately wired to play on the field. Like the mental muscle of read, react, respond is what you need in a crisis game like football. But he was very undisciplined with the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Right?
No boundaries,
no boundaries, financial decisions, just discipline, making really horrible moral choices with the people he put around him. Like I knew it was going to take more than me to help him, but I had his agent on board. Right? And it's like, yes, a lot of them, when they're coming out of situations that are less than stellar, definitely the ones I have worked with, NFL players I've worked with who have come from, 2-parent families or really working hard families. One of them I worked with, really strong Christians, farming family, like he was no problem. Right? He got it.
Right.
And did everything I asked, you know? But this kid really struggled, and it just broke my heart because I understood he was trying to be helpful to the people he loved and cared about, and he just couldn't see it as they were taking advantage of him.
Right, and that is
and then it just seemed like from the team and even the agent was on board and wanted to help him, but there was just this weird stigma at that level. And it's not just in the NFL, but there's just still, it's better than when this occurred, but it's still there.
Yeah.
Because it is a business, right? These guys are a commodity.
Right.
Even though they're a commodity of a person.
A person. Like it's a human.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a car.
But and what's disturbing me is college sports is now totally in that direction and in that mess.
The NIL money,
it used to be like I had one quarterback way back when, draft candidate, and he had hopped around 3 different schools. I'm like, you're gonna have to explain that. Well, now it's norm.
No, it's norm.
And they don't have to explain that anymore.
No, and it saddens me because the sport has drastically changed. You know, you always knew there was money in pro, and if I were being honest, like college was my favorite sport to watch because it was still about the school and the team and the camaraderie. Right. You know, and like professionally, I was like, I liked the Cowboys just because my name was Dallas and I thought that they were named after me. But you know what I'm saying? Like I was more college. Well,
A&M, right?
And A&M,
huge culture.
A huge culture. I went to Ole Miss, hotty totty. You know, I mean,
big culture.
Very big culture. So like sports were like awesome in college.
Yeah.
And now it's just like there's no like loyalty. There's no. It's like everything that you learn in growing up and like what you want to raise your kids to do. Like be a loyal person. Don't hop around.
Yeah.
Like have accountability for, don't just change because it doesn't work for you. Like people quit left and right.
I even see that happening at the youth level.
Let me tell you.
People move to prosper, right?
Yes.
They move to Frisco. They move to Salina. They move to these communities, right, to get that opportunity.
Right. And not only that, but they quit. Like I have never been a part of a sport where I've seen more people quit the sport in the middle of the season.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge no. But you're right, it happens. Or I can't tell you the number of times, the athlete and the parent sits in my office and they're like, we're in a toxic culture. And I'm like, really? Tell me about it.
Yeah. What do they say?
And I'm like, okay, that's not toxic. It's just hard.
Right.
You're being challenged.
Yeah. Reframe your mind.
Oh, you threw up after that strength and conditioning workout. All right. Did you pick yourself up and keep going?
Right.
It was hard.
Yeah.
Like there are instances that I hear that are demeaning and difficult and toxic. Most of the time, though, what I hear, I'm just like, you just don't have a high resilience tolerance.
Correct.
Stay on the team, finish the season out.
Right.
Absolutely. Even though it's hard.
I know.
Even though you're being challenged.
Yeah.
Even though you're getting teased.
Yeah.
Stay.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Let me help you do that.
Yeah.
Let me equip you. Because if you're telling me you want a collegiate goal or a professional goal, this is where it starts to equip you for that level.
Absolutely. And that is, resiliency is such an important part, I think, in, like, again, going back to sports and how sports train you for life, right?
Yes.
Everything that you go through in life as a believer, whether you have a belief in Jesus or not, like things are going to happen. I mean, in the Bible, it says, consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kinds.
Exactly.
It creates perseverance.
There's times when I hate that verse.
I know.
But then I'm like, all right, here we go.
Yeah. Consider it pure joy. Like,
joy.
Like,
yay.
That's not happiness. That's joy. That's the Spirit of Christ in us, right?
Right.
But here's the thing. Like, that is the perseverance. Perseverance is going to teach you how to get through hard times, right? And because
they're not going to stop.
No.
They're going to keep coming.
Absolutely.
And they're going to get harder.
Absolutely. And
you get stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and that is again, those challenges that they teach you how to, work through the next challenge that you're going to have and overcome it. I mean, went through breast cancer and I'm an overcomer. Like, I don't like the survivor. I'm like, I am an overcomer.
Yes.
That is,
yes.
That is who I am.
Yes.
And it's because of Christ. But my kids, they say the same thing. They're like, things can either happen to you or for you. That's what Finley, my daughter, says.
That's a great shift.
To you or for you. To you, because that's like, man,
Red
for me.
Sea rules.
Absolutely.
It's right there.
Is that where I read it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
When I saw that there, I'm like, all right, we're good.
Okay. Well, I did not even know. I referenced that.
One of the best books.
Oh, absolutely.
About
overcoming
challenges, right?
Yeah. And God providing a way, right?
Right.
It's part in the Red Sea.
Right.
Great example.
Wait a minute. I need another option.
I know. Right.
Yeah.
But like the to you and for you is definitely a great opportunity for you to reframe whatever negative that's happening, because there's always something positive. I mean,
yes.
He says God works all things for good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So even those things that are so challenging, so hard in your life, he's going to use those for good. And he's going to, equip you, and he's going to give you those opportunities to, maybe use something from the past that will prepare you for that future challenge.
Well, even that's scriptural too. For 2 Corinthians chapter 1, right? These sufferings you're going through is so you can provide that comfort to somebody who's also going through that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're that testimony. You're that story that someone else needs to hear to realize there's hope in the challenge. So, okay, I want to go back to your dad and the influence your dad had on you. And obviously, hearing some of your stories of, like how you got to where you are and, with sports, and obviously not just from a sports perspective, but also like the sports psychotherapist, right? What's like, was there a pivotal moment where you were like, I mean, obviously you've been around and been exposed, but it made me think like there was got to be one moment. Was it the football games, or was it did you ever go to a Bulls game? Like where you got to see and you were immersed around these athletes and you got to see, was it a story that your dad shared with you? Was there a pivotal moment in your upbringing that made you say, this is the role that I want to do? Or even like a multitude of stories.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of like the multitude of experiences throughout my gymnastics career. My dad was the safe one to talk to about my struggles, the up and down. He was more the nurturer of my two parents. I mean, both my parents taught me some really great life lessons, but in terms of when I was struggling, he was the go-to guy. And he certainly understood brain code to know how to walk me through that. But I don't think he fully understood with how demanding gymnastics, because it was 20, 25 hours of training every week.
Yeah. And
yes, he had a collegiate golf experience, but that's very different than gymnastics, even though it's individual sports. But I think my dad, a pivotal thing he taught me actually was more related to faith and identity. Because every struggle I would go through, he would just be like, well, what's the most loving thing that we can do here? What's the most, he would use the word agape. What is the most agape thing?
I love that.
I
don't know.
And then I think, being around the Bulls at the height of their heyday, and watching and listening to how my uncle handled people like Dennis Rodman and Michael Jordan, and
That's insane. You got to hear
Steve
some crazy
Kerr.
stories.
Well, yeah, because they're such different brain codes, different personalities. And they somehow were able to get those guys to work together. Well, even Shaq, right?
Yeah.
And Kobe. We all know the crazy infighting that would go on between the two of them. But when it counted, what did they do? They played as a team.
Yeah.
So
that would be really challenging.
Watching that, listening to him, asking him questions, just hearing some of the stories back then, it absolutely had an influence on me.
Yeah.
And then I would say when I was in seminary at Dallas Seminary, Tom Landry was on the board of directors at that time. And he would come and preach chapel.
Oh, how cool.
Well, I grew up just, wanting to be Everson Walls. So
Yeah.
I admired Coach Landry and the ethics and the integrity and that what he stood for, right? The work ethic that he stood for. And so I can remember listening to him in chapel and just thinking, wow, just admiration.
Yeah, admiration.
And so I don't know. I think it's just a multiple of factors where I just believed, and when you listen, be still and listen. It was like, yeah, go do this for athletes.
I love that.
Coaches, parents, teams.
Yeah. I mean, you just mentioned that on a multitude of things that you've accomplished, you mentioned you went to Dallas Seminary.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So tell us about that. Like, what made you go there?
A weird, eclectic mix of things, aren't I? Well, I had worked in media for about a decade. And then my husband got a job here. And it was really at that time, it was like trying to have kids. Working in media, you're going to move around a lot.
Yeah.
At least in your early years.
Yep.
And so we just made the decision that I would get out of that and we would go wherever he found a job. And so then I decided to go back to school. And so I got my biblical counseling degree because it was important for me to understand the biblical anthropology of man, not psychological theory of man. And so at seminary, I knew I would get the psychology of man, but from the biblical perspective. Because obviously they have to teach what's required for state licensure, which,
right.
So yeah, thankfully we landed here and DTS was here. And again, the influence from my dad being in ed psych. And so it was like, okay, now's the time. I'm going to shift gears and go into counseling.
I love that. All in.
Yeah.
You're that kind of personality. You're either in or you're out, right?
Well, yeah. So, it worked out, and raising kids at the same time. Thankfully I had finished my degree and right as I got pregnant with my first kid. So, I passed my boards when I was like 8 months pregnant. And so it was like, if I didn't pass, I was like, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
But luckily I passed.
Yeah. Because you're all in. I don't see you not passing in anything that you put your mind to.
Yeah, but now we're 27 years later.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, I know you mentioned discipline, and I just kind of want to highlight that. Like, what do you see in today's kid? You're dealing with, I know you work with, pro athletes, do you still work with like teenage and kids as well?
Yeah. My sweet spot, my favorite is the high school and college athlete.
Okay.
Professionals are another animal. So I tend to, because they're so coachable.
Yeah. They don't think they know everything yet?
Not quite yet.
Yeah.
There's a few I come across who think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, discipline, it's interesting, especially in open field sports like football or soccer, lacrosse, hockey, the innate mental muscle of that read, react, respond is what you want on the field.
Yeah.
But it usually leads to people thinking, oh, I have ADHD. No, you don't. You're wired a certain way, which traditional academic settings are not going to be as easy for you.
Got it. Yeah.
You can figure it out, but it's just not going to be as easy for you. You're meant to be on the field. and don't medicate that.
Absolutely.
I want you to show up that way on the field.
Yeah, exactly.
And then those athletes definitely need a system of support and accountability, life skill, for discipline on the things they don't like doing. They're very disciplined on the things they like doing and are fun for them. Mm-hmm. So it's not an issue of they can't do discipline. They can.
Right.
Because we see it.
Right.
In the things they like doing.
Right.
They just have to have that system of support and accountability on all the other stuff.
Yeah. I think that is like something that things are at your fingertips. I mean, we have phones, we have everything.
Well, that's a big part of what's changing brain neuroactivity. And so, yeah, I'm on board with don't give your kid a smartphone. If you can hold off to at least 16, that would be great.
Yeah.
Have phone policies, no digital input in the bedroom whatsoever. Yeah. And parents role model that. No TVs, no nothing in the bedroom.
Yeah. I was raised that way. I did not have TVs in my room.
Didn't either, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I did have a phone that was connected to the wall in my room, but I did not have a
Right. Yeah. I mean, such different times. But I think what I'm also trying to help athletes or anyone who comes through my office is this concept of, because I hear it all the time. I have anxiety. I have ADHD. I have an eating disorder. I have bipolar. And I'm like, all right, well, I go through the assessment and I'm looking for all that stuff. And we've been so conditioned to find an identity in a label.
Absolutely.
And it's destroying people.
I agree.
It's just all these things that are normal are now considered abnormal. Mm-hmm. And it's destroying people. Right. We're the most medicated country
in the world.
And yet we are the sickest.
Yep.
And we are now seeing a decline in how long people live. It used to be going up. Now it's going down.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's so scary. But you're right. Everything's medicated.
And so I'm trying to bring back, no, that's normal.
Mm-hmm. No, you're normal.
Anxiety is normal. It's not something you have. Let's just use a different word. You're generating it.
Right. And how to process it.
Well, sleep, nutrition, hydration. This is why you have anxiety.
Yep.
Well, fitness is not usually the issue because they're athletes.
But yeah.
But if those 4 pillars aren't good, I got to get that right first.
Yeah. And they have to be willing.
Yes, but if we start working on cognitive and mental things, they are not going to work unless those 4 pillars are in place.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me how many young people live on fast food and processed food. And then we wonder why they're struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. No, obviously we eat in majority. My kids have actually kind of modeled what I do. I don't eat refined sugar anymore. My kids barely eat refined sugar. They're not like me where I don't eat any refined, but they don't eat like what they used to, right? They see that there's a change in how the way I eat and the way I do things, and they've started to model that behavior, which is good, and they feel better. It does correlate. Like what you put in your body and on your body does matter.
Yes,
for sure. Yes. So I've had so much fun interviewing you. Like we're friends. I feel like we've known each other forever. I think because we're very similar in
I think so too.
On the way we view things, which is nice.
And that drive.
Yes, absolutely, the drive. Speaking of the drive, so what's next for you? Let's just go down a rundown. So obviously you're a gymnast. You played professional football. You've, are a psychotherapist for sports. You've gone to Dallas Seminary. You've done a lot in your life. You have 2 kids.
Blessed with 2 amazing kids that are grown and on their own. And both working in ministry, so it really is amazing.
Yeah.
The redemption that's even taken place in all our lives, really, from that experience. What's next for me? Well, this seems nuts at almost 60, but I'm considering getting a PhD because I want to teach.
Okay.
And I'm running into the roadblock that you can't teach unless you have the PhD. Unless you have that piece of paper. And I'm like, ugh. So I'm considering it.
Okay.
But like you, it's on the docket this year to start the podcast for sports psychology and all the things that I've learned over 27 years, and write the book about the brain code science that I use, the neurosport science. And I want to train other people to do this so that kind of leave a legacy of other people being able to do this.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. I love that your heart, is all about giving back to like this, like sports and people that are dealing with the, at the high levels that you've been able to help. And, that's a gift. That's a gift that you've been given and you're talented in it. And therefore giving back that talent is, the way in which God wants us to do.
Amen. Right? This isn't about me.
It's about his kingdom.
Amen.
So
for every single one of us. Right?
Absolutely.
It can't be about us.
No, I mean, we're here.
But everything, whether it's the failures, all the successes and failures, and being able to impact, influence, and educate whoever God puts in front of me.
Absolutely.
And that's been my personal mission statement since 97.
I love that.
So it just...
Is that the day you were saved?
No, it's the day I wrote my personal mission statement, which I just quoted.
Yeah.
But it's something I quote to myself every morning before I let my feet hit the ground. Because companies have mission statements, right? And so that became my personal mission statement because I wanted to show up my best for my kids, the Target checkout person, right?
Yeah.
Or a client, or it doesn't matter who. But I think we're called as Christians to show up our best and be influential to the people around us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
You're amazing.
It's been a joy.
It has been so much fun. So again, we'll have to have you on again. At some, with your next chapter, we'll see where God leads you, because he totally is leading you, I'm sure, for something else. So thank you again.
Thank you.